Got Boston Ferns? Want some more? Listen, if you're ready to multiply your collection of Nephrolepis exaltata, then stick the f around, because today we're about to get into some pretty cool ways to make that happen, Captain. Hey there, I'm Smith Kingston, houseplant guru extraordinaire. Joining us today we have Popppy, Toby McSchmuter, and for the last time, the beautiful Tammy Fandango. Alrighty people, this video is all about, you guessed it, Boston Fern propagation. Now, our foxy fronded friend of several years, Tammy Fandango, has made it through yet another harsh, brutal winter. But now that spring is here, her growing season is just about to get rolling. Listen up, lads and ladies of the internet. While the truly beautiful Tammy Fandango has been featured in several of our videos, it is likely that parts of her will be featured in future videos, but it won't be like it was. Here's the thing though, we can't do any chopping on this gorgeous green goddess of a Boston Fern until we get our shit together. So yeah, the tools necessary for Boston Fern multiplication are a clean sharp cutting tool, preferably a large serrated kitchen knife, a cutting board, as many containers as you think you'll need, some regular all-purpose potting mix, and all the necessary sundries for potting your bits of fern pie once they've been acquired. I'm gonna use this idiotically gigantic baking sheet and this serving spoon, though most people will probably prefer to use a trowel. Also, if you can find it, it might not hurt to get a hold of a tastefully tied, expertly crafted, and artistically beaded macrame creation. Alrighty, now that we've got our shit together, let's get to chopping up the roots of this Nephrolepis, rocking this metropolis.
Oh my gosh.
What? Yeah, that's probably accurate. First, we need to remove the macrame from Tammy's container. Just because it's beautiful doesn't mean it's not, in the way. Now that the container has been disrobed, it's time to get Tammy Fandango out of this container that has been her home for the past 2 years and a little bit. Having said that, I guess even if we weren't about to lovingly hack her to bits, you would probably still be due for a repotting about now anyway. Now, without being too aggressive, let's get some dirt off her roots so we can see what's going on down there. We don't want to disturb the roots too much since they're already about to take some damage once we, start chopping, but we do need to be able to get a good idea where to make our cuts so that the root cluster gets divided evenly. Alrighty, now let's chop up the root ball. Depending on the size of your fern's root ball, you might only want to chop it in half, though from a large healthy fern, you might be able to get as many as 6 little baby ferns. I've heard people suggest 8ths, and who knows, maybe from a gigantic fern that would be possible to accomplish, but to me that sounds crazy. Looking at Tammy Fandango's roots though, I think we could cut them into 4ths and still have plenty of healthy leaves and roots on each fresh cut bit of fern pie to ensure that future fern's survival. Now let's pot these fresh cut bits of fern pie into their new homes. We're using a regular all-purpose potting mix for these sweet fronded little green babies because if properly watered, this type of potting mix holds on to exactly the right amount of moisture to keep Boston ferns looking happy and healthy. Also, as we pot these ferns into their new containers, we're going to be careful to pack the soil well enough to ensure that there are no large subterranean air pockets, but not well enough to make it hard for it to drain between watering. Listen, now that our fresh cut fern babies have all been potted, we need to talk. The roots of ferns, though not as delicate as the roots of many of the succulents that we've talked about in other videos, are still susceptible to root rot and other moisture-related complications. For that reason, we're going to have a quick chat about when exactly to water ferns before and after this type of propagation. I gave Tammy Fandango a good watering pretty much exactly 48 hours ago. Watering your ferns really well and then waiting 2 days before hacking them to bits should ensure that the plant is well enough saturated to survive being lovingly mutilated over the course of the propagation process, but also give the soil plenty of time to drain away any moisture that could cause problems such as root rot and other complications if present in the soil during all the shit that went down earlier. Now that all these sweet green fronded bits of fern pie have been potted into their new homes, we're gonna wait an additional 2 days before giving them their first watering. This should give all the wounded subterranean bits of plant flesh plenty of time to scar over in preparation for their first post-propagation watering. I know that that's counterintuitive and that it probably seems like a pretty good idea to go ahead and give these fresh cut fronded friends a little drink because they're probably kind of thirsty after all the shit that just went down. But don't do it, okay? Don't f***ing do it. Listen, exposing your foxy green friend's subterranean wounds to moisture too quickly after having chopped them up could well be that Boston Fern's death sentence. As far as sunlight is concerned, your ferns will need lots of light in order to photosynthesize their way to recovery, but make sure they only receive bright, indirect sunlight during the 4-day window between watering them before propagation and watering them after propagation. Direct sunlight during this window will greatly increase the risk of leaf damage due to being dried out between the two waterings. And yeah, once your leafy green foxy fronded friends have had a chance to recover from the subterranean damage sustained over the course of the propagation process, feel free to expose them to a little bit of direct sunlight as long as that exposure takes place early and or late in the day when the sun is low in the sky and the majority of its ultraviolet radiation is being filtered by the Earth's atmosphere. And also, like duh, we potted all these fern babies into draining containers. That's right, draining containers. Because we're not stupid ass dumb shit who do shit like fucking around with non-draining containers. What's up, GabMonster? Don't worry about it.
What? Oh shit. Oh my gosh.
Okay, lads and ladies, I know that it kind of goes against what I said earlier, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and continue to call this fern up here Tammy Fandango. She may not be as beautiful as she was 27 minutes ago, but she still puts out the same salty, sassy vibes that she did before. And I'll bet that by the end of July, she'll be as full, luscious, and divinely irresistible as she ever was. And as for naming these 3 glamorous green goddesses, I'm gonna leave that up to you. So yeah, if you've got a suggestion, let me know in the comments, and if the name fits, I'll make it official and give you a shout out on Instagram. Hey, listen, do you like bad graffiti, worse jokes, wacky macrame, and pretty good advice about taking care of your houseplants? Well then fucking subscribe. What? Already? Shit. That's right, click that notification bell too so you never miss a new video.